Forum Planning Committee decided to do something I think kind of fun and different this year, and that was to ask Corey Odell to put together Poudre snapshots or Poudre splashes, snapshots of the river in 2016. Corey is the sustainability officer for Odell Brewery, and hey, let's welcome Corey up to the stage, please.
Thank you, and as he said, I put together this little video, I suppose, of a couple projects along the Poudre. We had people submit their projects, and we were looking for 14, and fortunately we got exactly 14, so we didn't have to leave any out of this. I'm sorry, 15, not 14. I don't know where that number came from. I actually have an introduction built into the presentation, so I'm essentially introducing my introduction. But I hopefully you enjoy this and we get more submissions for next year's project.
Continuing with our theme, we will now hear about a collection of projects along the Poudre from up the canyon all the way through Greeley. From the projects submitted to us, we chose 15, which are varied in both location and subject. Today you will hear from storage to education, from preserving the river's natural beauty to saving its history. All have made a lasting impression along our river. We would love to hear about your project for next year's forum. If you are working on a project along the Poudre, please email us at poudreriverforum@gmail.com. We will again choose 15 varied projects, and the rest will be featured on our website.
This past summer, the Poudre Heritage Alliance in the city of Fort Collins placed a sign along the Poudre Trail highlighting the history of the Northern Arapaho tribe in the Poudre River Valley. The valley was a fertile area where swaths of springtime grass attracted bison and the people who hunted them. The Northern Arapaho tribe consisted of separate hunting bands in the mid-1800s. The Arapaho bands periodically gathered together in the valley. One of their meeting places, called the Council Tree by early European settlers, was a large cottonwood which stood along the river northwest of present-day Timnath. Cheyenne, Ute, Apaches, and other tribes periodically used the resources of the valley and, at times, counseled, traded, and fought with the Arapaho. The Poudre Heritage Alliance commemorates the significant contribution that the Cache-la-Poudre River has made to the development of water law and the evolution of complex water delivery systems in the U.S. About a decade ago, AGRIUM company representatives and employees of their Crop Production Services Division attended the University of Northern Colorado Community Engagement Forum in Greeley. They wished to fund an essay contest asking high school students to come up with ideas to improve the watershed in which they live, which would be called Caring for Our Watersheds. This program would be modeled off of one in the area of Calgary, Alberta, that had been started near AGRIUM's headquarters. The Poudre Learning Center has coordinated the contest since, and about 1,200 essays have been submitted in the last decade by local high school students or teams of students. The Poudre Learning Center has coordinated the contest since, and about 1,200 essays have been submitted in the last decade by local high school students or teams of students. Local water industry, government, and academic professionals judge the essays and mentor the top 10 projects to implement. Cash prizes are awarded to the students and schools for the top 10 ideas. Clean the Poudre, an annual volunteer river cleanup event organized by Mountain Whitewater, took place on May 28, 2016. Along with our partners from the City of Fort Collins Natural Areas Program, Save the Poudre, and Gallego Sanitation, we removed a full 4 cubic yard dumpster of trash and 2 cubic yards of single-stream recycling from the river along the Poudre River Trail in Fort Collins. The event drew around 100 volunteers, each giving 4 hours of their time. Volunteers were treated to an appreciation event after the cleanup sponsored by Odell Brewing, Horse and Dragon Brewing, Sirius Texas Barbecue, LaPorte Pizza, Backcountry Delicatessen, Noosa Yogurt, and the Rio Grande Mexican Restaurant. Volunteers were able to enjoy free food and beer as a reward for all their hard work. We would like to say thank you to all of our sponsors, partners, and volunteers for their efforts and look forward to working with you again in 2017. Colorado Conservation Exchange is a watershed investment fund focused on fire mitigation projects which protect water in the Cache-la-Poudre and Big Thompson watersheds. We are designing a program in which organizations that benefit from water security and quality fund fire mitigation projects in the upper watersheds. This year, we are implementing a demonstration project at the Ben de la Tour Scout Ranch in partnership with the Coalition for the Poudre River Watershed and the Nature Conservancy. The site will be used to educate landowners, potential investors, and the public, as well as to inform our watershed benefit tools. The Colorado Forest Restoration Institute is developing a watershed optimization model for the exchange, which will allow us to choose projects with the biggest return on investment and verify outcomes once the projects are implemented. The exchange is in its proof of concept phase, with plans to be up and running with our first investors by water beneficiaries by 2018. The North Poudre Irrigation Company, NPIC's, diversion structure at the Fossil Creek Reservoir Inlet Ditch in Fort Collins was destroyed during the 2013 floods. While unfortunate, this event created an opportunity for NPIC, the City of Fort Collins Natural Areas, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, CPW, and the Colorado Water Conservation Board to collaborate on the construction of a new diversion that incorporates one of the first fish passageways on the Poudre and one of the first such structures incorporated into an agricultural diversion. The new structure is designed to pass water through a notch in the diversion and down the fishway at velocities slow enough to allow small native fish to pass through the diversion. Operation of the diversion is not impacted, and the chute can be closed to maintain diversions into the ditch. After the construction, CPW monitored the fish movement and observed both small native fish and trout successfully passing through the structure. Central Colorado Water Conservancy District, CCWCD, and Weld County Commissioners closed on GEISERT Reservoir November 8th. This water storage project is a slurry wall-lined gravel pit on the Poudre River near Greeley. The reservoir capacity is 1,257 acre-feet. The water stored in GEISERT Reservoir comes from water rights owners and leased by CCWCD. The water is typically diverted during snow melt runoff in the months of April, May, and June, and is released when water flows decrease and demand for water from senior water right holders occur. Central's 1,000-member agricultural irrigation wells operate out of priority and utilize augmentation plans decreed by CCWCD's subdistricts, GMS and WAS. The wells are located in parts of Adams, Morgan, and Weld counties. GEISERT Reservoir will not only help farmers with needed water supplies, but also adds a benefit of creating new wildlife habitat and water quality improvements. In 2016, the Coalition for the Poudre River Watershed, CPRW, worked on 2 fire mitigation projects. Skin Gulch, the most recent post-fire project, is located 15 miles up the Poudre Canyon. Completed in spring 2016, restoration included recontouring the stream, adding floodplain roughness features, seeding, and planting. At Ben de la Tour Scout Ranch, this multi-partner project aims to reduce wildfire hazard and protect water quality by training volunteers and youth sawyers using mechanical equipment and prescribed fire. The project is ongoing, but 40 acres of treatment have been completed. CPRW's mission is to improve and maintain the ecological health of the Poudre River watershed through community collaboration. Formed in 2012 after the fires, they have since contributed over 300 acres of post-fire restoration and continue to address those needs. They also work collaboratively to increase forest health and reduce fire hazards in the Poudre. GREELEY's new water budget is the next phase in our long history of water conservation and efficiency. After several years of careful calculation and pilot projects, GREELEY is poised to implement a system that rewards efficiency while maintaining its natural beauty and its long-standing designation as Tree City, USA. Our water budget is revenue neutral and is designed for single-family residences. It considers the number of occupants, irrigable area, and real-time weather conditions. It is flexible. For instance, if the number of occupants changes, that family's water budget can be adjusted to reflect that change. The goal is to encourage and reward efficiency while accommodating the wide variety of properties and lifestyles in our very diverse city. Following the High Park and Hewlett Gulch fires in the Poudre Canyon in 2012, a large influx of noxious weeds dominated the landscape. Invasive exotic species such as Canada thistle, Dalmatian toadflax, leafy spurge, and musk thistle quickly established monocultures, further degrading critical plant and animal habitat within the watershed. Staff from the Larimer County Department of Natural Resources, LCDNR, recognized the need for integrated weed management to take place across property boundaries in order to be effective in restoring native plant communities along the river. With supplemental disaster relief funding from the Colorado Department of Agriculture, LCDNR facilitated the creation of the Poudre Invasive Species Partnership, PISP. PISP is a collaboration of researchers, land managers, municipalities, private landowners, state and federal agencies working towards a common goal to protect the Poudre watershed against the environmental and economic threats posed by invasive species. In April 2016, Northern Water, on behalf of the Northern Integrated Supply Project's 15 participants, announced an alternate means to transport water from the proposed Glade Reservoir to NISP participants, utilizing the Poudre River. Under this alternate delivery proposal, more than a third of the project's anticipated 40,000 acre-feet of annual supply will be released from Glade Reservoir to the Poudre River, then transported 12 miles downstream through Fort Collins before the water is diverted at the existing Timnath Reservoir inlet. By utilizing this alternate delivery proposal, the Poudre River through much of Fort Collins will benefit from an additional 18 cubic feet per second of flow during winter months and an additional 25 cubic feet per second during summer months. The proposal would increase average monthly flows at the Lincoln Street gauge in 8 of 12 months in average years and 10 of 12 months during dry years. Skin Gulch is a tributary of the Poudre River near the intersection of Stove Prairie Road and Colorado 14 in the Poudre Canyon that was badly eroded during the 2013 flood event. Reconstruction, restoration, and revegetation work was carried out at Skin Gulch by volunteers from Rocky Mountain FLYCASTERS and partner organization Wildland Restoration volunteers. Another multi-year project at George Creek involves riparian habitat restoration and reestablishment of native trout populations in George and Cornelius Creeks. Rocky Mountain FLYCASTERS, chapter of Trout Unlimited, based in northern Colorado, is active in several conservation projects in the Poudre River watershed. During 2016, RMF has carried out volunteer conservation work days on George Creek, Phantom Canyon Preserve, Skin Gulch, Gateway Natural Area, and McMurray Natural Area. The Open Water Foundation, OWF, develops open-source software tools, open datasets, and educational resources to improve water decisions. Recent projects relevant to the Poudre include developing a tool to estimate agricultural land dry-up from urban growth, estimating water supply from snowpack, publishing map layers for Poudre Basin wildfire areas, and providing datasets to understand environmental flows. OWF helps increase access to water data and information and improve understanding and transparency on complex water issues. OWF helps organizations understand how to implement open data policies and web portals and apply software technologies to connect datasets for analysis. OWF often works at the systems level to understand how agriculture, urban, industrial, environmental, and recreational water use decisions are made and how they can be improved. OWF is also exploring opportunities to leverage data and technologies in educational programs so that students can contribute to solutions. Open data, open software, open decisions. In 2016, 8 nonprofit collaborators hosted the 3rd annual Poudre River Fest in Fort Collins. The goal of the event is to bring people to the Poudre River and foster an appreciation for this important community resource. Our approach is to provide fun, educational activities to broaden participants' knowledge about the river and its importance for clean water, wildlife, plants, industry, agriculture, and recreation. Activities include bird banding, nature hikes, scavenger hunts, a kids' activity area, river-focused exhibitors and displays, hands-on restoration projects, and workshops, all of which are surrounded by the celebration of the river with live music, dancing, and refreshments. 2017's event program will include even more engaging educational experiences for kids and adults. Collaborators include Save the Poudre, Bird Conservancy of the Rockies, Sustainable Living Association, National Association for Interpretation, Coalition for the Poudre River Watershed, Synergy Ecological Restoration, and CSU Environmental Learning Center. The Young Gulch Trail has been one of the most popular destinations in the Poudre Canyon. The original 5-mile trail followed an historic road up the gulch, mostly within the floodplain, crossing the creek 42 times. In 2012, Young Gulch was heavily impacted by the High Park fire, and subsequent rain events caused further damage. The trail was briefly reopened in 2013 before being closed again following the flooding in September of 2013. It has been closed to the public ever since. With help from our partners, wildland restoration volunteers raised funds and in 2016 began construction of a new trail. The new route is above the floodplain and reduces the number of creek crossings to 21, which will reduce its susceptibility to flooding and decrease sediment transport to the Poudre River. Restoration and trail building efforts will continue this year with an anticipated completion date in 2019. The history of one of the largest irrigation organizations in the Cache-la-Poudre River Basin is now better preserved and more accessible thanks to nearly a year of work by staff and students at Colorado State University's Water Resources Archive. The North Poudre Irrigation Company, NPIC, donated its historical records to the archive at the end of 2015. This voluminous donation included 73 boxes of meeting minutes, correspondence, engineering documents, and more, along with hundreds of maps and aerial photos of the NPIC system. The archive has been working on cleaning, organizing, and inventorying the materials so researchers can now access more than 100 years of Poudre River irrigation history to learn about past managers, decisions, and activities. This archival collection adds substantially to the documentation of Poudre River organizations and people being preserved and digitized by the archive.
Thank you, Corey. I'd like to say that Corey joined the Poudre River Forum Committee 3 years ago, and she has been a big part of putting everything together. But this year we said to her, we want you to have a baby of your own, a project that you can take and make of it what you will. And so I think she did a great job. Let's give her another round of applause. I don't know about you, but as I saw those, I felt that we have a lot to celebrate here on the Poudre. What a great group of people who have worked hard. I want everyone who was involved in one of those projects to stand. And let's see how many people here are part of those projects. I think we can really be proud of ourselves.